Hello dears. Let's discuss the question and answers from the last chapter of your textbook, Nature Matters, Readings on Life and Nature. The chapter is Going Local, written by Helena Hodge. When you open your textbook at page number 96, you can see the comprehension question, that means the short answer question, and also paragraph questions. So in page number 97, we have essay questions, but we don't really need to go to the essay questions because നമുക്കറിയാം essay ഈ ഒരു third module നിന്നും essay ചോദിക്കില്ല. Only short answer question and paragraph questions. So let's discuss. First question എന്താണ്? Who, according to the author, is the cause of the planet's woes? Why? Answer. Helena Hodge says that today the planet is on fire with a global warming, toxic pollution, and a species extinction, with a fundamentalism, terrorism, and fear. Though each individual has his contribution to this, she also places the blame on the corporate-led globalization. Now the second question. What is the driving force behind the world crisis? What is the solution? Answer. Helena Hodge says that നമ്മൾ നേരത്തെ അതേ ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ തന്നെയാണ്, അതേ സാധനം തന്നെയാണ് ഇവിടെയും എഴുതേണ്ടത്. കാരണം അത് നമ്മൾ രണ്ട് സെന്റൻസിലാണ് എഴുതിയത്. ഒരു സെന്റൻസ് ആദ്യത്തെ ഉത്തരവും മറ്റേ സെന്റൻസ് സെക്കൻഡ് ക്വസ്റ്റ്യന്റെ ഉത്തരവാണ്. സോ നമ്മളല്ല എന്തായാലും രണ്ട് സെന്റൻസ് എഴുതണം. സോ നമ്മൾ വേറെ തന്നെ ഒരു ആൻസർ പഠിക്കേണ്ട ആവശ്യമില്ല, അത് തന്നെയാണ് ആൻസർ. Helena Hodge says that today the planet is on fire with global warming, toxic pollution, and a species extinction, with a fundamentalism, terrorism, and a fear. Though each individual has his contribution to this, she also places the blame on corporate-led globalization. The solution she puts forward is localization, or going local. Now the third question. Define localization. Answer. Localization is essentially a process of decentralization. Decentralization means shifting economic activity back into the hands of local businesses instead of concentrating it in a fewer and fewer mega corporations. Now the fourth question. What is local food? Answer. A local food is simply food produced for local and regional consumption. For that reason, the food miles are relatively small, which reduces fossil fuel use and pollution. Now moving on to the fifth question. What are the economic benefits of local food systems? Answer. Local food systems have economic benefits since most of the money spent on food goes to the farmer, not corporate middlemen. Small diversified farms can help reinvigorate entire rural economies since they employ far more people per acre than large monocultures. Now moving on to the sixth question. What are the ecological benefits of local food systems? Answer. Local food miles are relatively small, which greatly reduces fossil fuel use and pollution. Local markets give farmers an opportunity to diversify, which creates many niches on the farm for wild plant and animal species. They don't use heavy machinery, which helps eliminate a major cause of soil erosion. Now the seventh question. What is monocultural production? Answer. Monoculture is the agricultural practice of growing a single crop or plant in a farming system at a time. Monocultural production systematically eliminates all except the cash crop from the land. Now the eighth question. Explain the effects of monocultural production on the environment. Answer. Monocultural production systematically eliminates all except the cash crop from the land. Monocultural farming never gives an opportunity to diversify. So there is no chance for the presence of wild plant and animal species. Now the ninth question. What are the other areas in which going local has had benefits? Answer. The benefits of localization are not limited to food. Increasing numbers of doctors and patients are rejecting the commercialized medical mainstream in favor of more preventative and holistic approaches. Many architects are finding inspiration in vernacular building styles and are employing more local natural materials in the work. Now the 10th question. Why, according to the author, should we follow diversified farming? Answer. Small-scale diversified farms have a higher total output per unit of land than large-scale monocultures. Diversification also lends itself better to organic methods since crops are far less susceptible to pest infestations. Now the 11th question. In what way can the governments help in reducing pressure on the environment? Answer. The government should accept a breakaway strategy to leave the World Trade Organization and formulate policies that would protect the environment and human rights. These policies would move society away from dependence on a few monopolies and promote small scale on a large scale. So we have discussed all the short answer questions. Now we will move on to the discussion of the paragraph questions. I will give you only 4 paragraph questions. There are 7 paragraph questions, but നമുക്ക് ബാക്കി എല്ലാ ചാപ്റ്ററും നമ്മളല്ല ഡീറ്റെയിൽഡ് ആയിട്ട് ആൻസേഴ്സ് ഒക്കെ പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ട്. സോ ലാസ്റ്റ് ചാപ്റ്റർ എന്നെങ്കിലും നമുക്ക് എന്ത് ചെയ്യാം, അല്ല ഒരു 3 ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻസ് അങ്ങ് വിടാം. സോ ഒന്നാമത്തെ പാരഗ്രാഫ് ക്വസ്റ്റ്യനും 7ാമത്തെ ക്വസ്റ്റ്യനും സിമിലർ ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ ആണ്. നമുക്ക് അവിടെ ഗോയിങ് ലോക്കൽ എന്നുള്ള ഐഡിയ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ലോക്കലൈസേഷൻ എന്നുള്ള ഐഡിയ ആണ് ചോദിച്ചിട്ടുള്ളത്. എന്താണ് നോക്കാം. ഫസ്റ്റ് വൺ. Explain the benefits of localization with an example. The 7th question. Comment on the significance of the title Going Local. സോ ഇത് രണ്ടും എന്താണ്, ഒരേ ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ ആണ്. അല്ലെ, ഒന്ന് ടൈറ്റിലിന്റെ ഇമ്പോർട്ടൻസ് ചോദിക്കുന്നു, ടൈറ്റിലിന്റെ ഇമ്പോർട്ടൻസ് ഒന്ന് രണ്ട് സെന്റൻസ് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ബാക്കി മുഴുവൻ നമ്മൾ ആദ്യത്തെ ആൻസർ ആണ് എഴുതേണ്ടത്. സോ നമുക്കല്ലേ വേറെ വേറെ ആൻസേഴ്സ് പ്രിപ്പയർ ചെയ്യേണ്ട ആവശ്യമില്ല. സോ ലെറ്റ്സ് ഡിസ്കസ് ദി ആൻസർ. The phrase going local means stay local as opposed to going national or international. Localization is essentially a process of decentralization. Decentralization means shifting economic activity back into the hands of local businesses instead of concentrating it on a fewer and fewer mega corporations. To restore localized structures, we will need to enact a series of systemic changes to the way the global economy functions. Doing this would reduce or eliminate psychological as well as economic insecurity. This will greatly lessen the appeal of authoritarian leaders who prey on these insecurities and use them to their advantage. Local food is simply food produced for local and regional consumption. For that reason, the food miles are relatively small, which greatly reduces fossil fuel use and pollution. Local food systems have economic benefits since most of the money spent on food goes to the farmer, not corporate middlemen. Small diversified farms can help reinvigorate entire rural economies since they employ far more people per acre than large monocultures. Local markets give farmers an opportunity to diversify, which creates many niches on the farm for wild plant and animal species. They don't use heavy machinery, which helps eliminate a major cause of soil erosion. Purchasing local produced goods and services from locally owned businesses strengthens the local economy by keeping money circulating within the community and supporting local jobs. Studies show that for every dollar spent at a local business, 45 cents is reinvested locally. For every dollar spent at a corporate chain, just 15 cents is locally reinvested. Typical supermarket produce travels 92 times farther than produce that is locally grown. All that transporting of agricultural and manufactured goods across country or internationally generates a huge carbon footprint. Buying goods produced locally minimizes both fuel use and our CO2 emissions. Now we will move on to the second paragraph question. That is, write a note on the benefits of diversified farming. Answer. Diversified farming systems are a set of methods and tools developed to produce food sustainability by leveraging ecological diversity at plot, field, and landscape scales. These practices include planting many crops varieties in a single field and incorporating trees, livestock, or aquaculture, etc. It also includes practices like rotating crops, planting hedgerows, and riparian buffers, and conserving natural areas in the landscapes around the farm. Around the world, diversified farming systems depend on diverse cultures, practices, and governance structures to support these locally adapted management systems. By supporting a complex fabric of natural and human ecologies, diversified farming systems allow critical ecosystem services. These include pollination and pest control. Small-scale diversified farms have a higher total output per unit of land than large-scale monocultures. Diversification also lends itself better to organic methods, since crops are far less susceptible to pest infestations. While there is no single template for diversified farming systems, they share a common focus on local production, agro-ecological and local knowledge. Diversified farming systems and agro-ecological approaches can support smallholder livelihoods and reduce hunger and poverty in both rural and urban communities. Diversified agriculture is critical to feed the world population reliably and in perpetuity. It also helps mitigate climate change and avoiding a collapse of the ecological systems on which human survival depends. The advantages of diversified farming systems are given below. First one, better use of land, labor, and capital. Second, diversified farming is less risky than specialized farming. Third point, less risk to crop failure and market price of the product. Fourth point, the byproducts of this farm can be utilized properly as cattle, poultry, birds, etc. are reared with a crop production. Fifth point, a regular and quicker return is obtained from various enterprises. Sixth point, soil erosion can be checked as land kept under cultivated throughout the year. Seventh point, soil fertility can be checked as land kept under cultivation throughout the year. Now we will move on to the next paragraph question. What are the disadvantages of monocultural production? Answer. Monoculture is the agricultural practice of growing a single crop or plant in a farming system at a time. Monocultural production systematically eliminates all except the cash crop from the land. It also entails a farming or agricultural production system that is practiced at a single time. It has been used in industrial farming and organic farming, allowing for increased efficiency in planting and harvesting, as well as lowering costs for farmers. A great example is the growing of only crops or beans for the entire planting seasons. However, it also increases the risk of exposure to pests and diseases. Although the practice has allowed increased efficiency in planting and harvesting, it has been criticized for resulting in unsustainable environments. It has been linked to the build-up in increased pressures, reduced nutrients in the soil, or soil degradation, etc. Monocultural farming now gives an opportunity to diversify. So there is no chance for the presence of wild plant and animal species. The major disadvantages of monocultural farming are given below. The first point, monoculture does not support other flora and fauna. Second one, if a particular disease or pest can affect one single plant, then it can possibly affect all the other plants as they also will be vulnerable to the attack. The third point, if a crop is planted in the same field for extended periods, it limits its chance of taking advantage of other nutrients in the soil. The fourth point, due to the cultivation of some same crops over and over again, monoculture reduces the nitrogen composition in the soil. Now the fifth point, because of a diminishing soil fertility, farmers rely heavily on chemicals and technology to promote plant growth and production. Now the sixth point, due to major crop failure, farmers can suffer high losses, which in turn would contribute to local market loss. Now the seventh point, monoculture results in less diversity of other species. This applies to both plants and animals. Now the last point, the eighth one, monoculture is not advocated because repetitive use of fertilizers can lead to soil erosion, which makes it difficult for plants to grow. Now we have finished discussing the short answer questions and 4 of the 7 paragraph questions because നമ്മൾ ആൾറെഡി പല ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ എല്ലാ ചാപ്റ്ററും അല്ലെ മുഴുവനും പറഞ്ഞതാണ്. സോ നമുക്ക് എന്ത് ചെയ്യാം, ഇവിടെ ഒരു 4 പാരഗ്രാഫ് മാത്രമേ ഞാൻ ഡിസ്കസ് ചെയ്തിട്ടുള്ളൂ, ബാക്കി 3 എണ്ണം ഒഴിവാക്കിയിരിക്കുകയാണ്. അതുപോലെ ബാക്കിയൊക്കെ പഠിക്കുകയാണെങ്കിൽ നമ്മൾ അല്ലെ ഇവിടെ 4 എണ്ണം പഠിച്ചാൽ മതി. So that's all for today. We will meet again in the next class.